the Israel issue is a proxy for a basic question about, do you support riots or do you support public order? Because the people who are activated about the Israel question are very similar to the people who were activated by George Floyd's murder in 2020, and similar to the people who were activated by the AIDS crisis during the ACT UP, very similar to the people who were activated by the Vietnam War, who took the side of the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese army. This is a problem the Democrats have, and that you cannot look at this through the lens of simply like what our policy has been on a two-state solution and BB and settlements and all of these things. It has everything to do with, are these dirtbags part of your coalition? Because most Americans hate them, even if they have some sympathy for the idea that, well, it'd be nice to have to see the war end in Gaza, and certainly have sympathy for Palestinians. And it's the idea that Israel in this particular case, it's got nothing to do with Israel. It has to do with the fact that the people who protested Netanyahu burned an American flag and hoisted Palestinian flags at Union Station. And that alone is the big question. It's the radicalism. And that is both a proxy for more than foreign policy. It's about gender issues. It's about all kinds of things that Kamala Harris has to do a lot more of a persuasive kind of switcheroo in explaining why she isn't the candidate that she was in 2019. And it doesn't help when you have meetings and listening sessions with such people. And I think they're just addressing the whole thing all wrong.
I guess, I'm struggling in my head to figure out whether this is a totally new race or not. And right now, the margin between Harris and Trump is close enough that I'm not really sure. I mean, in all three of the major polling averages, the polls of polls, New York Times, 538, Real Clear Politics, Harris is leading Trump today by about 1 point. She's actually leading by a little bit more in the, in the 538.
Okay, and I think that's a good point, that sometimes Israel becomes a proxy for other issues, not just law and order versus rioting, but here's another issue that Israel and Jews are often a proxy for, and that's excellence. All right, do you value excellence? Do you want to create and protect a society that values excellence, or do you want a society that favors equality of outcome, meaning you're going to need strict government regulation to try to equalize outcomes because different groups have different gifts? So a lot of animus at Jews and at the achievements of Europeans, right, is due to jealousy and loathing of European and Jewish excellence, right? That Europeans have created a certain type of society that other peoples around the world emulate, and